Welcome to the Light of Sirio podcast. My name is Dori Fari and I will speak with a realized spiritual master about his views on life and the topic of spirituality. We arrived to the 6th episode in the season 2 of this podcast. The previous episode was talking about karma, the wheel of life, the law of action and reaction, and at the end of that episode I said that in this present episode we would talk about the free will as part of the kriya and karma, as the types of karmas were briefly discussed in the previous episode. But I must say that a small discussion came up following the previous episode and questions for further clarification. So I have decided to dedicate this episode to reply these questions, which are mainly around one topic, and this was the diet. In the previous episode was mentioned the vegetarian and the vegan diet. And the questions were mainly about what's the real difference in between the vegan and vegetarian diet, on all the levels, and then a small discussion that which is better, how one should do, how one should eat, even to the point that if maybe that because Santmat, Surat Yoga as a spiritual path promotes the vegetarian diet. And some others, they say that if the great saints of before, like Kabir, Guru Nanak, those who were the initial great saints of this path were to be here, they would promote vegan diet. Though, the present living masters, they keep promoting the vegetarian diet as was before. And so I thought that's the best if I ask you, dear master, in this podcast to shed some light on this topic for us, how to understand vegetarianism and veganism and how to relate to these two things.
So as I said last time, masters of this path advise a vegetarian diet. Actually, they ask to follow a vegetarian diet if you want to be initiated. Otherwise, they don't give you initiation. Because it's that kind of diet by which we incur in the least karmic reaction. As I said in the last podcast, if you kill a human being, the reaction is very high. You will be, in some countries, you will be killed, also condemned to death. In some others, you will go to jail maybe for the rest of your life, or something similar. Because the karmic reaction for killing a human being who is composed up by the 5 elements, all the 5 elements, is very high. If you kill a mammal or a quadruped, like a cow, a horse, a sheep, a goat, any of these animals, the karmic reaction is less. So you won't go to jail and you will be condemned to death. And why is this? It's not because life is unjust. It's just because these lives have less value, if you want to put it like this. It may seem to be a cruel or a bad way of putting it, but that's how it is, actually. Life has value according to the presence of the 5 elements in that life. So, this kind of animals, they are composed up mainly by 4 elements. The ether element is much less than in human beings. And that's the element that allows the human beings to be intelligent, to be capable of doing what the animals are not capable of doing. all this scientific evolution which we have seen on the planet was not done by cows, by horses, by sheep. It was done by human beings. Because the human beings have this element of intelligence. They have a brain which is different than that of the animals. They have a mind which is more organized. So, if you kill those animals, if it belongs to somebody else, you have to pay the price of how much costs on the market. If it's yours, you don't pay anything. Then if you go below fishes, birds, and so on and so forth, they still have less value as alive because they are made up by 3 elements. And if you go down to the insects and other forms, flies, mosquitoes, and so on and so forth, they are made up mainly by 2 elements. So even less of a consciousness, less of a life present in those beings. Then if you go down to the vegetables, that's why we have to be vegetarian. Vegetables are made mainly of water. The main element present in the vegetables is water, fruits, vegetables, leafy vegetables, and any kind of vegetable is mainly water. So less elements, less karmic reaction. So it's the kind of diet which causes less reaction. So it helps us to free ourselves from this wheel of cause and effects, of action and reaction. So then what else do vegetarians eat? Legumes and cereals. You pick them up when they are already dead, means when they are already dry. The plant is dead when you pick up legumes and when you pick up cereals. So there is really no karmic reaction. So vegetarian diet that includes cereals, legumes, or pulses as they call them, fruits, vegetables of all kinds, and that's it. And dairy products. Now, the main difference between the vegetarian diet and the vegan diet is about dairy products. Macrobiotics, they also have this understanding that dairy products are not good for human beings. When I was young, macrobiotic diet was very much in fashion. It was very much on the scene. Many people were following the macrobiotic diet. And that also was advising not to use dairy products on the account that the idea that only human beings keep using milk after leaving their childhood, when they begin eating foods and not just milk from the mother. Once they stop eating milk from the mother, drinking milk from the mother, they stop drinking milk. But human beings, even after stopping drinking milk from the mother, they keep drinking milk. And this is not good. This is natural. But there are so many things that human beings do which animals do not do. Because human beings, by the way, they are human beings and they are more intelligent and they can do many more things that animals cannot do. So, normally a cow, a sheep, a goat, after having the baby and milking the baby, giving milk to the baby for a certain period, which should be 3 months more or less, then they stop drinking milk and they begin eating grass, they begin eating hay and this and that. Cereals, seeds, if you give them, and they keep producing milk, just as they were doing before. I mean, these animals, they keep producing milk. A cow may produce 20, 30 liters of milk. So, even when the baby is taking the milk, the cow will have much more milk than what the baby takes. Because the baby makes 6, 7 liters, 10 maximum. But the other 10, they're there. You have to milk the cow. So what you do with this milk? You throw it away? It's a precious something. In Indian milk, the cow is worshipped just because it gives the milk. It's a mother. And Indian, in their diet, which accordingly to their religious beliefs, it's mainly vegetarian. In India, even nowadays, in this modern age, you have more or less 50% of vegetarians. It's the nation where you find most vegetarians. More vegetarians than anywhere else on the planet. So they use milk. They use milk to make curd, to make kefir, to make paneer. So it's part of their diet. And so it's not true that once the baby stops sucking milk from the mother, they stop giving milk. It's not true. It's not like that. If you don't milk these animals, then they become sick. They get this mastite, we say in Italian. I don't know what's in English.
Maybe mastitis?
Maybe mastitis, whatever.
The inflammation of the breast.
Yes. So they are to be milked. And the milk can be used for making all these products, like, as I said, buttermilk, kefir, yogurt, cheese. Now, what's important is that the quality of the milk is good, that the food that these animals eat, it's food of quality. Nowadays, in this intensive farming, which they do, where they have thousands of cows, thousands of sheep, and so forth, they don't feed them naturally. They don't feed them very well. They give them a mixture of foods which are not natural. They contain chemicals. They contain antibiotics. They contain many things which sometimes are harmful for these animals. These animals are mainly vegetarian. And sometimes they put in this mixture of several flowers which they give, they put even bones of animals, flesh, dry flesh, which is not natural for these animals. And so you have the cases in which the cow becomes mad, they said. There was a period in which all over the world there was this the problem of the mad cow, which was giving, they were actually becoming mad because they were not giving them the food which was fit for them. So of course, if they eat food which is not of good quality, then the milk is not of good quality. So the milk provokes allergies, provokes different kinds of health issues. So in that case, I agree, that is not good to drink that milk. But when you have your own animals and you give them good food, the natural food which they normally eat, just grazing, grass in the fields, or some natural hay and seeds like this, then the milk is very, especially goat milk and sheep milk, cow milk is very good. So you can make kefir, you can make yogurt, you can make butter, you can make cheese, and it's a good product which is doesn't cause allergies and all the issues, health issues which nowadays the dairy products do provoke, and it's a fact.
Yeah, but I think also it's quite a difference if one has the own animals, then probably it's not like the intensive farming. I mean, it's impossible that it's the same, because at the intensive farming, then it's like a factory, like an industrial something. So yes, that's very sad and cruel how those animals are kept. But for example, I can say from my own example that I know that we have goats and we love them so much. They are our dear friends. They have their own names and we take care of them, we caress them. I think being a goat, they have a very good life, a very beautiful place, and they are nicely taken care, nice environment. And so if one takes this kind of milk then because it could also be above, I suppose, for the vegan and vegetarian philosophy, can be an ethical question, how those animals are treated. Because also I arrived a comment like this to me, that because of the cruel circumstances as these animals are kept, it's not fair to take the milk. But not all the animals are kept in a cruel way. Because, for example, where we live, in the countryside of Tuscany, so many people have their own animals, and somehow to me it feels different to take those, to create our own dairy products and take their milk, than just like taking from the intensive farmers. And but also, I mean, not everybody can have their own animals. I can say the example from my parents who live in the city. They live in Budapest, and there are these markets where the farmers bring their own products, but these must be the small farmers, those from the intensive farming. Those big farms, industrial farms, they can't bring their products. Only just the small ones, like family business, or like who do not exceed a certain measure. And I'm sure that all around the milk, this movement is present, and there are the biomarkets. So I mean, if one gets those kind of products, those are not cruelly produced dairy products.
Yes, sure. What is bad is the industrial food of any kind, not just the dairy products. All the industrial food which you find in supermarkets, full of preservatives and this and that, all these chemical additives to allow the product to last longer. This make all the food of a bad quality, of a low quality, not just dairy products. Anyway, yes, there is this aspect also of the cruelty by which in this intensive farming the animals are treated. And it's bad, we know. But unless the world system, the world consciousness changes, and we come to a humanity which is more loving towards all sentient beings, which is quite utopic, I would say, nowadays. But if you were to reach there, then of course animals could be treated so much better. But nowadays even human beings are treated like animals, or in some places worse than animals. Look at what's happening around the world. We mind so much about the life of animals. In a civilized world, dogs, cats are kept so nicely, although it's not the same with cows, with sheep, with goats, which are more or less the same type of worthy lives, or lives to be respected. But yet, cat and dogs, even if you beat them, you may end up with a report, or even in jail if you kill them. But goats, sheep, cows, horses, no problem. You can kill them. Nobody tells you anything. So where is the balance here? Where is the logic? Anyway, we see nowadays that human life is becoming so valueless. So many people are being killed nowadays. Look at Gaza example. Yes. Huh? Look how many people are being killed. And nobody says anything in this modern world. So, let's put the things in the right perspective. Lives have to be respected, all of them, but even much more the human beings. And we don't see this happening in the world nowadays. So,
well, something came into my mind that you said in the previous episode that every opposite manifests its opposite. And I was thinking, when I was going to school and we were learning about Aristotle, and he started the philosophy of the golden mean, or the golden midway. And so I don't know, it's just also like before, then life had so much less value, and that was an extreme. And now we go to another extreme. I talk about the diet, because you said also that the vegetarian or the vegan diet is not fit for everybody, so that we cannot promote it for the all of the humanity. So maybe I thought the vegetarian diet would be the golden mean, which is in between the too much cruelty, too much killing, and in between the veganism.
Well, let's say if you stop eating meat of all kinds, fish and eggs, then you go to the vegetarian diet, which includes, as we said, cereals, legumes, vegetables, fruits, and dairy products. Now, if a person, by his own inclination, feels to give up also dairy products, it's fine, no problem. But you cannot promote it for everybody. I don't think it's good for everybody. There are many cases of vegan people who, especially their children, they are not fed properly. They don't grow properly because they don't get the right amount of nourishing substances. And so we must be very careful when we go into these. We must be very knowledgeable and know what we are doing, and use those kind of products which help us maintain a good level of health and well-being. In my case, I've gone sometimes for 5-6 months just eating fruits.
Yes,
it was fine.
There are the fruitarians also.
There are the fruitarians also. It's okay. If they feel good that way, no problem. But you can't pretend that everybody follows that kind of diet. Fasting is also very good. There are people who come to the point of not needing food anymore. Very few. But they can't advise everybody to do the same, because we are not all the same, and we have different needs. Also, fasting, it's a very good practice. I've done it for so many. I am maybe one of the few people who have gone so far in fasting, 71 days, 2 months and a half almost. So I know what it is. I know that not everybody can do it. There are people who fast for 3 days and they go in depression. There are people who fast for a week and they lose 10 kilos. And there are people who fast for a month and they lose 5 kilos. So metabolism is different in human beings. So we must, when we want to experience different kind of way of feeding ourselves or non-feeding ourselves, we have to be very careful. We have to experience ourselves by and by. When I was 18, I started fasting. 1 day, 2 days, 2 days, 3 days. Then I saw that I could do it. Later on, I went on for 5 days, then for a week, then for 10 days, then 20 days, then 30 days. And my last fasting was 71 days, and I could do it because I've been training myself. I know my system, how it works. What can I do with it? But if you're not experienced and you pretend to do what I've done, then you kill yourself. You end up very bad. So these are exceptions. This is not the rule. The rule, let's say, it is that midway which you're talking about. And that midway, it's a good vegetarian diet, a healthy vegetarian diet. That I know and I'm sure is good for everybody, no problem. for anybody. But the other kind of diets, they are more extreme, and they are to be taken with consideration, with knowledge, and by knowing your system, how much you can allow to yourself. But nobody has this capacity to wisely and slowly understand one's system, how it works, and its possibilities. So, careful with extremes, that's what I can say.
And what about the other things about the dairy products regarding the vegetarian and vegan diet? I talk, for example, as I write, also a question about it, about honey, because in vegan diet, honey is not contemplated, it's not included in the vegan diet because it derives from animals. But again, it's something, well, I'm lucky enough to live at a beautiful place in the countryside. So besides having goats, we also have bees, and I myself take care about the bees. And well, it's a strange thing because the bees, they seem like, you also said, like insects and stuff, but it seems like an impersonal something, but one can really feel love for them, that when I go to them, they are so beautiful, so charming, it's fantastic, the vibration that they give out, that sound that is in their in the beehive when I open them. And nowadays I also heard it is very much said that because of lots of disease which spreads around the world among bees, and bees are dying, and bees are so much more important than any other insects for the impollination of the fruit, especially the fruit trees, but also flowers and other plants. All nature. So without bees, we might lose the fruits, and
we might lose life on the planet without bees.
Yes, I even read this, and so it's also like I when I go to my bees, our bees, I always feel like a personal responsibility for the planet, even not just for those bees, but I know that I take care of them, I look after them, I spend time with them, and that actually the honey that we take out from them, it's in excess because the family doesn't grow as much honey they produce. That honey could stay there. And I know that, and here around, again, many people, they have bees, and I know that the people, they don't want to give extra nourishment for the bees because then it's a cost, then it's not natural. So you leave the honey for the family for the winter, and you only take that honey which they don't consume. So what do you think about this?
Well, what I think what I see. This year you have been getting out some 20-25 kilos of honey. They wouldn't use all this honey, so it would be a waste. And it's honey, it's excellent. In Ayurveda, it's understood as the best vehicle to take a medical substance deep into the cells. So in Ayurveda, they give importance to this. The medical property of a herb or any substance that you intake to cure any disease, but they also add importance to the vehicle by which you introduce this medicament into your body, this drug or whatever you want to call it, into your body. So honey is the best vehicle that carries the effect of the medicament deep into the cells. And in Ayurveda, honey is very appreciated and very much used for many purposes. So to say that honey is no good for human beings is to say a stupidity. That's all for me.
Well, and I have another question because all these comments arrived to me. And so I also would like to understand better these things. So I had my own thoughts, my own reasonings about these things. Like, as we said, about the milk, that if it was taken in an ethical way, in an excessive way maybe, or non-ethical, or in a cruel way, that makes a difference. And about bees and the honey. But also other things that derive from the animals, that if we refuse everything that derive from the animals, then we should be consequent, because at least that's my philosophy. When I do something, I try to be consequent with the things, in the things that I'm doing. So, what about the wool? Because that also derives from the animal. To me, the wool is something which the sheep they have, and then I see we don't have sheep, but our neighbors, they do have. And every summer when the heat arrives, then he goes and shaves the sheep. It's a big work, so he's really working it. Then eventually he doesn't do anything with that wool. Then sometimes he just burns it, or now I told him to keep it for me so that I could create some cushions. The neighbor said that his mother used to make pillows and the filler for the chairs, so they used it at home like this. But now they don't use it because they made everything, but they need it for the household, and they just burn it. But still, if they don't shave the sheeps, then they will suffer like anything. When here this heat arrives in July, August, which is here, then I don't know how they would survive. And also the weight that is taken off from them, because the nail would become like a rasta, or I don't know. So it's also something that comes from the animals, the wool. But still, then, is it? So how is it?
I don't know how they consider this fact of using. This is also an animal product, of course, but in all the history of mankind, wool has been used to make warm clothes to help you go through the winter.
Well, even for housing, nomads used to make their tents.
Also, in all possible ways, for housing, making carpets and other things for the house, and also for dresses. It's always being used and keeps being used. Even when I was small, my mother, she would buy wool from people who had sheep. We didn't have sheep, but there were people who had them. So she would buy the wool, she would make the thread, and with her own hands she would make T-shirts for us to wear for the winter. And in those days, I was born in 1952. In those days, it was still very much in common in the countries, farmers, to do this kind of clothes themselves. So this is natural life. And to say that anything against this, I think, is to be, if nothing, superficial.
Well, okay, so I think more or less we said everything. So the conclusion is that we don't condemn anybody, because
anybody can do whatever he wants.
Love and peace in the world.
Per carità di Dio.
And those who want to be vegan, it's good. Let them be vegan. And those who want to be vegetarian,
those who want to fast and fast their whole life,
or be fruitarians, and
they are welcome. Those who want to fast until they die, they are welcome. No problem. Anybody can do whatever he wants. But for majority of human beings, vegetarian diet, it's enough.
So let's wish for the golden midway for the humanity, that they become vegetarian, and then from among them who wants to become vegan, they become, and those who don't want, they could continue this vegetarian diet, then life on this earth would become more beautiful and peaceful. So thank you, dear Master, to explain all these things to us, to clarify, and I hope we succeeded to discuss, to talk about all the questions and reply them. But if anybody has any further comments to add to this topic or any further question, then please don't hesitate to send it to the siriopodcast@gmail.com. Or if you have any question about the free will, because we are planning to talk about free will in the next episode, continuing this karma topic. Or if you have any other question about this, then you're most welcome to send it to the siriopodcast@gmail.com. And please don't miss to subscribe to the Light of Sirio podcast channel. And if you feel like, please leave a comment under the episode. It's most welcome. So now, to conclude this podcast, we can listen to another song, which is not sang by Master Sirio, and not written by Donna Jewel Pollard, but it's written by Santajaib Singh Ji. And I felt it very appropriate to this episode because it says, "O beloved Sadguru, improve my life, suffering by karma, I am calling at your door. I have not even a little control over you. Except you in this world, nothing else is mine. O beloved Sadguru, improve my life, suffering by karma, I am calling at your door. I have come to your shelter, don't reject me. I have got much suffering, no more agony. O beloved Sadguru, improve my life, suffering by karma, I am calling at your door. Cool my heart, which is heated by pain. O beloved Sadguru, improve my life. O beloved Sadguru, improve my life, suffering by karma, I am calling at your door." So, above any diet in this world, I wish to all humanity to arrive into the shelter of the Sadguru, because this would mean also that they become vegetarian, but it would be so much good for all humanity to find, for everybody to find their own living master and improve their lives through the grace of the master. So now we can listen to this song. So next episode comes after 2 weeks, and the song is performed by the famous Sirio band.